So here is my take on Pendulum Magician in 2024 post-January ban list, where we're using the Snake Eye Ender, which I didn't think I'd use in a Pendulum deck, because of course to summon it you need to send that card to the graveyard, and to send for original Sinful Spores the card also needs to go to the graveyard. However, we do have cards like the Time Pendulum Graph and the Star Pendulum Graph that are cards we can send. So we've somehow found a way to make Snake Eye work in the deck. Summon Metalfoes Bismugear, which is a level 1 fire monster. It's the only Pendulum level 1 fire monster. It's the perfect card to bridge us into another extender. If we just need another monster on the field, we are not running Castor Fenrir because of Dragon Shrine and Dark Worm synergy, which is extremely important in this deck. I would have loved to run Fenrir, and I was previously. And of course, it's a level 7, so you can make Absolute Dragon, and you can send that to grave to summon the Vortex Dragon, which is a very, very easy Omni Negate. So there we go, guys. Some changes to the Pendulum deck, and I haven't shown Pendulum Magician on this channel before, so this has been very exciting. I'm going to show you a replay against Fire Kings, and clearly, you know, this is going to be one of the best decks in the game. People are getting very excited for it, and we had a intense back and forth with the opponent, and we were able to win in the end. I think I used every single resource I had. So let's go to the replay. We're going to summon Skullcrab at Joker. I'm going to search a Supreme King Magician. Because we have another card in the scale, we can add a Pendulum style card to the hand, which is Time Pendulum Graph. And now we can put in the Supreme King 0. Because we control the Supreme King gate, we can Special Magician, get us that nice search for the Light Wing Dragon, which is, you know, Wings of Light, which is the generic searcher. And that's enough. That's the bodies we needed for Beyond the Pendulum. Now we can go ahead with the replay. Let's search Harmonizing. Now I did so much testing for this deck, and I wasn't sure whether to play the Performer Power Magician combo with the Odd-Eyes Synchron, or just to keep to the simple Harmonized Magician. And in the end, I decided on Harmonizing Magician. I just felt like it was a little bit easier to use, and the other ones were a little bit clunky, a little bit more bricky as well. So that's why we went with this in the end. And here we go, Pendulum Summon for a nice set of monsters here. We even able to search the Light Worm, and because we search Light Worm, because it's a tuner, that's going to give us Broadlord Savage Dragon as well. So let's go to the replay. We're going to blow up our Pendulum scales, free them up, mostly because we plan to use those scales for other things later on. Let's bring out the Oath Dragon, make the Baron de Fleur. There we go. And there is the Star Pendulum Graph. Like I said, we can send things like Magician to grave for the Diabell Star, for the original. And you can side Kurikara, so original has more utility in the future. Of course, we still have to respect purely. Let's make the Odd-Eyes Absolute, just like I said I would, using it as a level 7 for a rank 7. Make the other Omni Negate, which would be Nibiru. Let's summon Selene, bring back the Magician, use Lightworm to summon the Savage. Pretty nasty board here already. You know, that is, I mean, let's just have a counting before we pass our turn. I've played a lot of the Pendulum Magician deck, but I still find that sometimes, you know, things are not where they should be. For example, Time Pendulum Graph is clearly in a Pendulum zone. Big misplay I did, of course. What I should have done is use original, send Diabell Star to grave or something else for a Pendulum monster like Bismugear and continue the combo without any issues. That was a oversight for me. I think I was running out of time. Maybe that explains why I rushed a little bit there. But nonetheless, we still have a Time Pendulum Graph. Again, I was rushing for time. I forgot to place the double iris in the pen zone, so Time Pendulum Graph was not as useful. But despite those two things, we still managed to hold out quite well. We can see the opponent's hand. They have quite a few amount of stars in their hand, which is really annoying. And I haven't got much experience against Fire King, so let's see what happens. They start with the Monster Negation. So that's a pretty good top deck, I must say. And then we just flip up the Time Pendulum Graph. They even crash into the Appaloosa, which is only 1600. It is not looking good for us. And now they make us waste 2 of our Omni Negates so we can stop the Fire King Island. But now they get to special the Ponix, I believe, which searches the Fire King spell, the Sanctuary spell, which is very, very powerful. Now, I assume that players would only run 1 of the Fire King field spell. So they go ahead with their wanted package. We get to negate that, and that's all our Omni Negates gone. I was getting scared that they would set a Rescue Hydrant with the original, but they are just playing pure Fire Kings, which is still very strong. But because they've used their Ponix, they even have Snake Eye Ash as well. They even top deck a Hand Trap with the draw from original. Pretty nice, I must say. And then a Typhon to actually clean up the board. So this was a pretty frustrating duel to watch, and you know, luckily we were able to play it through. And you know what, guys, the original that we had set actually works out quite nicely. We'll find out in a little bit. So to start off with, you know, original, send that to grave. The Ash Blossom is what it is. We mainly wanted to get rid of the Vortex in the pen zone, do a little Dragon Shrine, Time Pendulum Graph to block out the Typhon, Star Pendulum, and of course Lightworm, the MVP. Remember, the Typhon bounced Savage to the extra deck, so Lightworm will set us up with something soon. But let's resolve Time Pendulum Graph, add another monster, complete the scale soon. There we go, get rid of the pen zone, free that up. Now, I did feel like I could have played a little bit better here. I'm pretty sure there were ways for me to possibly pendulum summon more monsters. So that was definitely, something I need to review myself. But I'm pretty glad with where this board is looking at right now. Unfortunately, we can't OTK them. So we really are just going to pass turn and hope this is enough. Let's see what goes on next. They summon the Ponyx. They're going to search the Sanctuary. They do find the second Fire King, which is really annoying. And so they do get to set up some nice things here. Of course, Garunix, the big guy, gets an attack boost. Gets to send the Kirin. I believe Kirin was special. Avatar. Gets to pop out a Pendulum Scale, which is very annoying. But we do get the recursion with Start Pendulum Graph. I love this card. Really strong card. And of course, it does protect our monsters as well, which, people sometimes forget. The classic pro of playing a Pendulum deck is you have that infinite grind game, provided you have the scales. And guess what? We have exactly that. And we top deck a Wanted. So I get to show you guys the Wanted package as well, which I was really excited to do. I really want to showcase why I'm playing this. I think it's worth trying out. Of course, Ponyx goes back in the standby phase. Send the Star Pendulum Graph. He's done enough. But the Debuster gets negated, which is really annoying. And of course, he destroyed something. Ponyx gets to special. Search for next turn. If we don't win this turn, we are losing. We know that for sure because of their grind game. But there we go, guys. We get to do a draw one. Draw one, search the Bismuth Gear, and we top deck a Dark Worm, the exact card we needed for Beyond the Pendulum. And there we go, guys. We're able to search for a Anti-Human Intelligence ME-PSY-A. This is a personal card I've been running as a tech. It's a really nice option. 12 cards get banished instead of going to the graveyard. Not something that really comes up, but in a runic format, this is perfect. And we do main deck 2 of them as extenders. But also, its monster effect is amazing. Any monster that is summoned will go to the graveyard in the end phase. It is an activate effect, but that's still pretty decent. It's a strong body. So it is clutch, and of course it's 0 scale, which is really great. You can move a card from the hand, I believe, or to the pen zone to the extra deck, and then you can special summon this card. So again, more extenders for Beyond the Pendulum, but in this case, a simple 0 scale, and is the one card we're missing to complete the scale. So there we go, nice little crazy, I want to say, pendulum setup. And of course, Beyond the Pendulum, if you summon 2 monsters with different levels to its zones, you have to pop 2 cards, which is absolutely crazy. That's a Soul Sword Blackout. That's an Icarus attack, whatever you want to call it. Now, I thought if I pop the island and the Sanctuary at the same time, Sanctuary would not be able to protect it. Looks like it did. But of course, with ME-PSY-A, those cards will get banished now. So we want to obviously get rid of Fire King to wipe the board, go for the access code OTK. But because of all the destruction, they're triggering, they're bringing out Garunix, bringing out Kirin. But we are still able to summon the Savage Dragon, set up a negate, go for the Exceed the Pendulum, which is the best access code climb for us. Bring out another Supreme King Magician, go into an SP, just so we can go into Nami Unicorn. Go for the bounce here. Let's see what we bounce. Okay, we bounce one of the monsters, and then we go into the 53 access with the Savage is great. And this made no sense. I have no idea why I equipped a Appaloosa when I had Link 2 options in the graveyard. That makes no sense, but that is what happened. Of course, it is 0 attack. It is a question mark. So I thought I just noticed that now. Actually, I found that quite funny. So it's a good thing we did summon a 5300 one. And of course, with Fire King Island, the one drawback, you could say in some cases it's good, but in this case it's a drawback. When it is popped, all your monsters are destroyed. And because he's already used his destroy trigger effects, the opponent surrenders. So I feel like that was a pretty back and forth duel. We went through a lot of things there, including a lot of our main deck monsters. We went through the Wanted package. We showed why it's useful. The draw, the search, Lightworm, MVP, giving us that scale 8, setting us up with Savage Dragon twice in the duel, which is hilarious. Typhon did bounce it. This deck is just made to summon access codes to go for easy OTKs. We have Selene as a link climb. We have Exceed the Pendulum as a link climb. We have Beyond the Pendulum into these guys, which does more pops as it goes. Pretty crazy stuff, honestly. I think Pendulum is a complicated deck to play, but once you understand it, you can really get away with how crazy it is. And of course, post-siding, Secret Village is busted, beat Super Poly, beat everything in the game. So let's move on to the deck profile, and I'll show you guys what we're running with. So this is what I was playing for that deck profile, and what I think is a very good way to play Supreme King Gate or Pendulum Magician in 2024. We are running 1 Afterglow Sorcerer, 3 Pendulum Gate Magician, 1 of the Gate. Of course, you have to play it. 2 Dark Worm, so everyone has a weird ratio for this card. I like 2 Dark Worm with 2 Dragon Shrine. I feel like that's a pretty nice ratio. We're playing 1 Light Worm, which you could put to 2, but of course you saw it yourself in the extra deck face up. It can always just add itself back to the hand, which is quite nice. Double Iris Magician is great. It sets up the time and the start. Pendulum Graph, really busted cards. I think they're really underrated, honestly. And of course, the 1 Harmonizing with the 1 Oath Dragon is just a very quick Baron. That's all it is. I could see myself running a 2nd Harmonizing, but I really didn't want to see this card at all. I didn't want to see more than 1 copy, which I did see. You can blame ED or Pro ratios for that. The 1 Bismuth Gear as part of the Wanted package. 2 of the Messiahs, 1 of the Wings of Light to search anything I'm missing. To be honest, this is a card I feel like you could not even play, but it's nice to have just for consistency. This deck does boil down to a few things, which is the Supreme King 8 Magician combo with Dark Web interactions, and then with just harmonizing for Baron, and this card to set up the time and start Pendulum Graph. So I just want to max out on seeing those as much as possible. Moving on, we have 2 Duelist Alliance, which I thought was quite nice. It can search the Pendulum spell and trap cards because they say Pendulum. In some cases, you can search other stuff as well. If you play, for example, the Odd-Eyes Pendulum Dragon, like Floodgates and Draw Power. But like we said, the Star and Pendulum Graph, you saw them in the replay MVPs. This is the card I'm running as Draw Power. I took out Prosperity, even though I realized that cards in the extra deck, you know, Pendulum monsters in the extra deck, actually count as Prosperity fodder, which is quite nasty. But I found Ignite Reload to be quite an interesting card. I ran it at 3. I just want to see as much as possible. Again, as long as we see Supreme King 8 Magician and or Dark Worm and or Skullcrab at Joker with the starters that find Dark Worm, you know, that's all we care about. So if you're going to see duplicates of those cards or extenders, we can simply shuffle them and draw +1. So Ignite Reload was actually MVP as well. Really enjoyed this card. I would love to know if you think there's a better alternative. Of course, you have stuff like Prosperity. It clashes with Wanted. It clashes with Talents. And I just did not like removing cards in my extra deck because I felt like everything here has a purpose. And so, yeah, that is why I play Ignite Reload. Let me know what you thought about this card in the comments. I'd love to know. 2 DL stars for the package. The Wanted package, there we go. 2 Triple Tactics Talent. And just 3 Ash Blossom just to be a little bit safe against hand traps, which we are sliding like crazy. You can see the extra deck isn't really a surprise to anyone. I think I'm just running 2 Beyond. I really think you should play 2 of this card. This Dark can easily be a second SP, but I decided on Dark just in case. I was tearing between IP and Dark the Dark Charmer, but I think you should run a second SP if I'm being honest. Potentially even a second Baron de Fleur. Although Oath Dragon gets banished after it's used material, so maybe not. And then you have the easy Omni Negate package setup, which no deck can do in the game, which is summon a rank 7, get rid of it, and bring out an Omni Negate. I feel like that's pretty nasty. It's also a bounce on a attack position monster on summon. You can even summon Odd-Eyes Revolution Dragon to bring this back. Use things like Typhon to break boards going second. This is the card I did add in before. I was adding more synchro monsters previously, like Tilting Entrainment. And then, yeah, I decided to run Unicorn for the access card 53. This deck, you know, it is a slippery glass cannon, so you gotta make sure that you can win when you have the opportunity. And this card just means we have that 53 because Unicorn is a great removal because of Sanctuary protecting the Fire King. You want to make sure you can get rid of the Fire King Island and of course any other pesky cards. And then, yeah, to round it off, you know, we have the Odd-Eyes Rebellion Exceed Dragon, which just sent to the graveyard to summon your Supreme King from the hand if you control a Supreme King 8 monster. And there we go, guys. There's a quick look at the side deck. And that being said, let me know what you thought about this video in the comments down below. I'm having a lot of fun with this deck actually, and I was surprised I could get it down to 40 cards, which I did not expect. Personally, I would love to see things like Astrograph more. It's limited. This card and Supreme King 8 Magician is a nasty combo. So much advantage, it's actually crazy. And you get the absolute setup as well because they're both level 7. Would you like to see more replays with this deck? Let me know as well. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.